My name is Caleb Morrison, and I was 29 when she left me with a note and a half-packed suitcase. Don't take this personal, she wrote. I lived on promises for too long. I need stability now. Translation? She left me for her boss, a 45-year-old CEO who had a private jet and a Rolex obsession. We were supposed to get married in 5 days. Flowers booked. Venue paid. My sister had flown in from Germany. And there I stood, tuxedo hanging in the closet, refund deadlines long gone, heart cracked in places I didn't know existed. Everyone told me the same thing. She chose money. Let her go. But they didn't see the way she looked at me when she walked out. It wasn't regret. It was pity. Like I was some broke fool with a guitar and big dreams and she was done playing backup singer. That pity didn't break me. It rebuilt me. Because 2 years later I stood at her wedding, invited by her. And the moment she saw the woman next to me, her lips parted, and her champagne glass trembled. She wasn't smiling anymore. She was wearing white again. A tighter dress this time. No veil. No flowers in her hair. Just that same smug confidence she wore when she told me, I need a man who can provide. But when her eyes landed on my date, her entire posture shifted. Because standing next to me was Aria Langston. Not just stunning, not just graceful, but the CEO of Langston Financial Group. The same firm that had just acquired her husband's mid-sized logistics company, last week. I didn't smile. I didn't need to. Her new husband, Brent the boss, was still shaking hands, unaware his empire had been swallowed whole by the woman I was now holding hands with. A friend of hers came over to greet us, fake smile, sugary voice, and I caught the flicker of panic behind the bride's eyes as I introduced Aria. She extended her hand. Oh, Aria said coolly, you're the one who ran off 2 weeks before marrying Caleb, right? Her smile dropped for a second. Just 1 second. But I saw it. So did Aria. And Brent? He turned just in time to catch the tail end of that moment. Something had cracked. And it was only beginning. I could feel Brent watching us the entire time, eyes bouncing between me and Aria like he was trying to calculate something he couldn't quite solve. We weren't even seated yet when the coordinator came over and whispered something in the bride's ear. Her face stiffened. A forced laugh slipped out. She turned toward us with all the grace of a socialite who's just been told her stocks crashed. Would you two like to join the head table? She asked. Aria tilted her head. Is that where you're seating the man you ditched days before your vows? Bold. There was no venom in her voice. Just precision. I think we'll sit where we were assigned, I said and guided Aria away, letting them stew in their polite chaos. We sat at a small circular table 2 rows back from the head. Aria placed her clutch on the table and pulled out a sleek envelope. What's that? I asked. The reason you got an invitation, she whispered. I blinked. You mean? She doesn't know I'm your date. She sent me a proposal 2 months ago for a merger. I RSVP'd yes. The envelope had her wedding logo on it. Inside. A contract. And a trap. I stared at the contract. Not a wedding invite, a business proposal wrapped in lace. The irony was poetic. You're telling me she tried to merge her husband's company into yours? I whispered. Aria smiled. They're desperate. Logistics costs have crushed them this year. She reached out, name-dropped Brent, and said she'd personally vouch for the deal. She probably thought I was too busy to notice her last name. So this was all a play for a merger? No, Aria said, her eyes flicking to the couple at the head table. This was a power play. And now I'm in the room. Before I could reply, the DJ called for toasts. Brent stood first, smug, polished, and thanked the guests. Then he turned to me. And Caleb, he said into the mic, you look well, my friend. No hard feelings, I hope. We all move on, right? The room tensed. People glanced at me. I didn't stand. I didn't smile. I just looked at Aria. She leaned in close and said, loud enough for the next table to hear. Should I tell him we bought his company's debt last night? Brent froze mid-toast. And my ex turned pale again. Brent laughed. A shaky, forced chuckle that didn't quite reach his eyes. I'm sorry, what? He said, setting the mic down and walking toward our table. Is that true? My ex hissed, trailing behind him, her voice sharp and low. You bought his debt? Aria calmly folded the contract and slid it back into her clutch. Not me, she said. Technically Caleb did. I just facilitated the offer. I turned to Brent, letting the weight settle. 2 years ago you took her. This week I took your trucks, your permits, and your 3 biggest vendor accounts. I guess we both know how to sweep in before a wedding. His jaw flexed. Relax, I added. I'm not here to ruin your big day. Just came to collect what's mine, dignity, closure, and a very expensive glass of champagne. My ex looked at me like she didn't recognize the man sitting in front of her. She didn't. The man she left was building songs and waiting on promises. The man she invited tonight? He built an empire from the ashes. And I wasn't finished. Because what I had planned next wasn't about revenge. It was about something far colder. The reception moved on, but the air around our table? Frozen. Brent kept glancing at his phone like he was expecting bad news, because he was. My ex tried to recover, laughing too loud at a toast from one of her friends, but her eyes kept sliding back to us. Every time Arya leaned in, her neck stiffened. I wasn't here for revenge, not the kind they understood. I was here to let them watch. Watch who I became. Watch what I'd built. Watch how quietly real power moves. Arya took a sip of wine and whispered, "Ready to dance?" I nodded. As we stepped onto the floor, I could feel every eye follow us. Arya moved like she owned the room, because she did. She leaned into my ear, her voice low. "You didn't tell them about the press release, did you?" I shook my head. "Tomorrow morning," she smiled, "the world finds out Brent's company is under our name. And hers." She gestured toward the bride. "She's not listed on a single asset. Not even the home." I didn't laugh. But I did hold Arya a little closer. Because tomorrow the real collapse would begin. We left before the cake. I didn't need to stay. The real gift was already wrapped, scheduled to go live at 8 a.m. across every major business newswire. As Arya's driver pulled up, I opened the car door for her, and paused just long enough to glance back. Brent was standing by the open bar, shoulders hunched, phone glued to his ear. My ex was near the DJ booth, pacing, dress bunched in one hand, whispering frantically to someone who clearly didn't have answers. They knew something was coming. But not how bad. Back at Arya's penthouse, she handed me a glass of bourbon and said, "You okay?" I nodded slowly. I thought I'd feel more triumphant. "You don't feel anything yet because it's not morning." She was right. At exactly 8:03 a.m., I woke to my phone buzzing. Langston Financial Group announces full acquisition of West Sky Logistics. CEO Brent Cartwright to step down pending audit. By noon, Brent's emails were leaked. So were the internal memos. And by 5 p.m. my ex called me. 17 times. I didn't pick up. But I saved the voicemails. Because the last part of this was personal. She showed up 2 nights later. No warning. No call. Just a knock at my door at 10:42 p.m., hair unbrushed, no makeup, clutching her purse like it was the last thing she still owned. I didn't say a word. "I didn't know," she whispered. You're with her? You knew this whole time?" I looked her dead in the eyes. I didn't know. I rebuilt. Tears welled up, the same eyes that once stared through me like I wasn't enough. "I made a mistake," she said, voice cracking. "I thought Brent was, I just needed security. And now I have nothing. He's blaming me for everything." I let her speak. I let her cry. And when she finally reached for me, I stepped back. "You left me for a bank account," I said. I became the bank. I closed the door without slamming it. Because this wasn't about revenge. It was about evolution. Now I live in peace. I build in silence. And I never chase what ran from me. And sometimes when I replay it all, I think, she didn't lose a man. She lost the moment he became one.